The Reckoning project aims to be a game-changer in the world of human rights and investigative journalism. Co-founded by Janine Di Giovanni, a human rights reporter and investigator in conflict zones, the project fights for justice and accountability in times of war, in the court of public opinion and the courts of law.
I've always worked in conflict zones, war zones, or the aftermath of war, and I've always taken testimonies of survivors. Someone has to keep a record of that. I think all wars and all places where people suffer should be treated equally.
The Reckoning project combines advocacy and journalism, training reporters and researchers to record, collect, and conserve witness statements and testimonies so that they can be used in legal cases. That means, among other things, that reporters must ask non-leading questions and not coach witnesses they speak with on how to answer. The journalists are not affiliated with any court system and receive support from foundations and non-profits. The interviews sometimes feature in news reports, but Di Giovanni says there is a bigger purpose.
In the short term, working with prosecutors, working with advocacy, putting pressure on the UN or governments, in the long term, to keep a lasting memorial of what happened.
2 years into Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the project is laying the groundwork for future war crimes trials. Natalia Gumenyuk leads a Kyiv-based team focused on talking with survivors and witnesses to war crimes.
So everybody to whom we talk potentially are eligible to speak at court. In the cooperation with international analysts and lawyers, we developed this methodology to where what they say is not just the journalistic material, but also can be used as evidence for the prosecutors, for the law enforcement in Ukraine and abroad.
An important task is to prove that certain war crimes are not an aberration, but part of a pattern perpetrated by the Russian army. Moscow denies carrying out atrocities, even as the UN documents Russian tactics causing over 10,000 civilian deaths, its abduction of hundreds, possibly thousands of children, and use of rape as a weapon.
We see that the same commanders are still, shelling the rockets indiscriminately into the civilian infrastructure, into the train station, houses, shopping malls, and things like that. And they act the same way. They torture the people. They electrocute them the very same way in Berdyansk and in Kherson, in Kakhovka, and as it was in Izum.
With the International Criminal Court issuing arrest warrants for Russian President Vladimir Putin and the US unsealing war crimes charges against Russian military personnel, the work of the Reckoning Project and others is likely to play an important role in future hearings. Anna Chernikova, VOA News, Kyiv.